So was it just a hobby at that point? Was it just a thing that you just
really
had like to
I
have?
was just very interested in it. So I had met a group at a jazz concert. They were in the American Wine Society. So I was like, wow, that sounds like a cool society to join. So I did. And I was dating Scott then. I'm like, you should come to the meetings. They were a national group, wine group. And I started learning all about wine. And eventually, I guess being the teacher in me and wanting to be educated, I really got into it. So I started going to wine country in Central Coast of California because I had lived in the Monterey area and moved from the Monterey area to Las Vegas. However, I never drank wine when I lived there, but I had met a group of winemakers from Monterey at a wine tasting at one of the local restaurants, and I was just getting into it, and this one winemaker said, why don't you come? If you're in Monterey, I'll set you up at different wine tastings. And what happened was we met a lot of his friends in another area of California called the Santa Rita Hills, and started going there quite often when I ever had breaks, and started learning all about the wine industry. We worked in the wineries with the winemakers. When I had free time, I was down there helping with crush and punch downs and learning every aspect and sorting grapes. So it became quite a passion. Then we live in Vegas, so here we are with some of the best sommeliers, and then they know people there. And anyway, that's how we got engaged. But then at that time, too, we started writing a blog called
That's
Vino
Las
started. Vegas. And that got on the radar of the James Beard Foundation.
The blog was Vino Las Vegas.
Yeah, Vino Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And
2005, 4, something like that.
It was right when blogging first kind of became
Sure. And that's the birth of Vino Las Vegas, which is now the wine club here at Lakeside Village, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow, so it started off as a blog.
It did. It was a blog, and which was interesting because we, as far as the James Beard Foundation, for people who don't know what that is, it's like the Culinary Academy Awards. They award best restaurant, best chef, best sommelier, best whatever. Well, they just started at best blog. We were in the running for the award. However, we did not get the award, but just to be on their radar was really great. And they said we were too Vegas centric. So we developed our own website, cuisinist.com, to make it more all-encompassing aspects of the culinary world. And we live in Las Vegas, and Vegas was exploding with new restaurants, and every celebrity chef wants to be here. And so, I don't know, it all kind of evolved.
Just kind of evolved. Mm-hmm. And if you look back, we've done everything with wine. We've harvested, crushed it, punched this down. I was a wine director at Garfield's and a wine director at Come Saw on the Strip, so I bought it. And we've written about it. We've done everything but actually grow it, and I'll let those guys do that. But we've done pretty much everything you can do in wine, of all the different aspects of it. It was kind of cool.
Interesting. Yeah. So when you guys met, were you already sommeliers, or
No. I was a elementary school. Well, I was getting my degree in education for Nevada. I had taught in California when I met Scott, and Scott was a paramedic.
I was a paramedic.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, totally not related to this world at all. But then again, I always say, with the job I had, I could see why that
exactly.
happened. But it really kind of took over our lives. And there was several points while I was teaching thinking of I'll just become a floor somm, or I'll go into just sales in the business. But the writing thing really kept evolving and taking off, and finally we got involved with local magazines. And the biggest thing that happened really was we got on with a national website called the Daily Meal, and we were able to be on staff with that, and they had a huge reach. So that opened up a lot of doors for us as far as publications. So even today we contribute to their website, but what they do is they actually take our copy and they'll distribute it to whatever outlets they have. we might be in the LA Times or the Chicago Tribune,
Boston
or whatever.
Globe.
Yeah,
Boston
wow,
Globe.
wow.
Right.
So it's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been kind of an interesting
Yeah,
and
it has been.
all-encompassing
And it's
journey.
still evolving. That's the one thing is that we gave a talk before for the downtown project, kind of like a miniature TED talk. It was called Partnership Passion. And so basically it was about what we kept saying was, there were many times where we educate people about wine. We're just going to teach people about wine. That's what we're going to do, have little tastings. But the writing kept pulling us. So instead of like fighting it, saying, no, we're going to do this no matter what, we went with where the energy took us, like a wave. The wave took us to more of the writing. But then, kind of funny, now, all the way back, over 15 years later, now we're back doing wine education at the Las Vegas Wine and Yacht Club. So it doesn't make any difference, you had that idea from the beginning. Never, I thought we had actually our own spot, ever. But because of all this stuff that we did, instead of forcing it, we just went with where it took us.
Wow.
And so it got frustrating sometimes. It does, because is this really worth it? Is it really worth the time and effort? But we just kept it, no, let's just stick with it. Let's stick with it, because sooner or later it's going to happen. And boom, we're traveling all over the world and learning about wines from other regions. So yeah,